get us started here. What's up, guys? Justin here and Alec, your two favorite AI guys. What's up, Alec?
What's up, man? Let's get after today. This is going to be a good one. We got a lot of cool stuff to share, so looking forward to this one.
Guys, this was an invite only session. So if you're here, kudos, welcome. You may have noticed we like to keep this fun, not super serious, especially those of you who've been to prior sessions. So we don't take ourselves seriously, but we do take our work seriously. That's part of our motto here. Drop in the chat if you've been here before, say I. Love to know who here is returning. If it's your first time, say first time. David Young. What's up, David?
Guys, we got a cool format for you today. Justin and I, we've been talking about this kind of idea for a session for a week or so, and we haven't shared which tools that we're going to be sharing. So we're going to go back and forth going over some of our sleeper tools, things that we use a lot that aren't super common. But we have no idea what the other one's going to say. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure there's going to be some overlap in tools. So it should be a fun session today.
Alec, I have an idea of what I think you're going to share. I know what you've been up to, but I don't think you have any idea what I'm about to drop on you. You're going to be mind blown.
You're a man of mystery, man. I have no doubt that you're going to come in with some surprises here. So stoked to see it, man.
Alec, what do you say we jump in? Do you want to kick us off?
I got a very fresh use case for everyone, something that I think will give a lot of people some inspiration on how they can be using AI and different tools they can be using. So I'll jump in first and we'll get this thing rolling here. You should give me a second here to share my screen and we'll get started. Okay, Justin, let me know if I'm good, if everyone can see that.
Guys, drop in the chat if that looks good. Looks good for me. Hey, Gene, welcome back.
Okay, I'm gonna assume we're good to go here. So the title of the session was seven AI tools. That's gonna be split between Justin and I, and we always shoot to over deliver. I appreciate you guys making some time and taking time out of your day to sit here and hang out with us. So I got five for you guys, and we're gonna get into our first one here, which is Codex. And Codex is an incredible tool. It's lightning fast. And I'm going to show you how I used this yesterday. It's something that saved me a lot of time. It saved me legitimate money as well, and kept momentum rolling, which is super important as well. So here's my use case. I operate a lot in the lead generation space. So we're generating leads for people, we're generating calls, we're setting appointments. We have a new vertical, and I'm partnering with somebody on the business development front. So we need to get a list of prospects for him. And our hottest prospects are people that are already spending money on ads. So my thought when I was talking to him, I'm like, okay, I'll have my VA go pull a list in every city. They'll Google that vertical and they'll see who's running ads. They'll put a list together and then we'll hand that off to the biz dev. So in practice, that could take a couple days, might take a week, who knows? We want to do it faster. And I'll touch on that a little bit. Anything that you're going to have your VA do is a good sign of something to try to use AI first, because that's something that's inherently low leverage work, but something that needs to be done. So always be thinking about those things that you're handing off to other people. Those are great tasks for AI. So instead of this taking me a week and having to pay the VA to do it, we achieved this in about 10 minutes with Codex. So let's get into what Codex is first. If anyone's familiar with Claude Code, it's basically OpenAI's version of Claude Code. It's better in some cases than Claude Code. It's lightning fast and it's a great tool. So basically, you have to have a $20 subscription to OpenAI to use this tool, and you could use it for a handful of things. You could use it for building landing pages. You could use it for building AI agents. You can use it in this case for just getting tasks done. So here's how I started. Codex is a great tool, and I'll explain how I used it in this use case. So it all started out in just regular ChatGPT, and basically I wanted to figure out if I could achieve this task without having to, have my virtual assistant do it. I want to do this faster. We have a lot of momentum. We're both hyped up about this new vertical we're going after, so we got to move. And basically, what I did is I went into ChatGPT, I explained the situation, and I said, hey, is there an API that can pull current advertisers? And I could search by keyword. And the answer was yes, there was an API. There's something called SpyFu. So I went to SpyFu and I got an account. That did cost a little bit of money to get. And then I basically fed in all that information to Codex. And I said, Codex, here's the API key, here's the API docs, go pull this list. And it did it for me and it achieved the task that I was set out to do in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to share Codex really quickly just to show you what that looks like here. Codex is great for those types of tasks. What's the difference between ChatGPT and Codex? When should I use Codex? When should I use ChatGPT? ChatGPT is very conversational, and it was great for my use case when I was asking, "Hey, what can I do differently here? How can I use AI to do this faster?" And it gave me a great answer, and it put me on the right path. But if I wanted to actually take that action and build out that list of prospects and use the SpyFu API, it can't do that. It's just not in its capabilities. But Codex is a tool that's in its name. It's built for writing code and executing code. So what it does is it writes out these scripts to then use SpyFu's API, and it formats all the data how I want it. And yeah, that's kind of how that works. So it was a great use case here. And again, you could use Codex for a whole range of things. You could build websites with it. You could build agents with it. So let me get that shared here.
Now, Alex, for our audience here who are not developers, if you're not a developer engineer, can you still use Codex or do you need some engineering
Uh,
technical background?
you don't need any technical background. At the end of the day, if something's confusing to you, ask Codex what to do, and it'll help you figure it out. At the end of the day, it's just a matter of getting in there and trying it and not doing anything like exposing any sensitive data or anything like that or exposing API keys, but it's something that's accessible to anyone that's curious and wants to get in there and try it out. So don't have to be a developer at all. So I have Codex up here. This is kind of what it looks like here. And you'll see, here's another use case. I use Codex to build out that deck for me. The deck that you guys were all just seeing, I
Mhm.
use Codex to build that out. So there's a whole nother use case. You could build, you need PDFs, Codex can make you a PDF. You need decks, Codex can make you a deck. So really good for that as well. But yeah, I went through the process here. We gave it some context into what we're doing. And then it was able to pool it put together an entire prospecting list for me. That was something that was going to take me a few days, it was going to slow momentum, it was going to cost money, paying my VA to do it. But now it's something that's done, and now me and my biz dev partner are fired up and ready to move forward. So that's another thing. And throughout this whole series, Justin and I have emphasized like, hey, what are the capabilities that we have now with AI? One of the things is operating lean and being able to do things that you wouldn't have been able to do before. But the other thing is speed. Like you can move so fast now. I mean, that's just a micro example of days saved. And if you continue to leverage these tools over the course of a year, think about how much time that saves and how fast you can move. So that is a summary of my first tool here, Codex. Great tool. Recommend everyone gives it a shot.
Love it, Alec. So, just to put into perspective, how much would it have cost you to do it the old way, where you're buying leads, cleansing them, enriching them? If you're working in biz dev, sales, marketing, you need a lead list to maybe you're hitting the phones, emailing them, etc. How much would that have cost you to get this list, and how long would that have taken?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a couple costs associated with it outside of just the financial element. I would have taken a VA, who knows? We'll say it was 2 days, and you're paying your VA somewhere between $5 and $10 an hour, something like that. So not huge on the cost, but what's the cost of letting momentum die? That's the real cost. And that's the thing where, hey, if we can continue to push the ball forward and continuing to move fast, that's where the real gains are had too. So yeah, we saved money and we got a great output and now it's in the biz dev's hands and he can go and run with it. But also hey, this is spur of the moment. Like we're both ready to move on this and ready to start onboarding clients. Here's the list. Let's go. We don't have to wait on a VA for anything. We're ready to move.
Yeah, speed to market's important. That's
Sure.
awesome. Thank you, Alec. And hey, guys, keep the questions coming. We're doing a Q&A at the end. We're going to stay as long as we need to get all of your questions answered. This session is going to run about an hour until the top of the hour here. So we're going to breeze through a few of these tools. I'm going to go next, Alec. What do you think I have for us? Any ideas?
Mm. I'm just gonna say it's gonna veer towards marketing and be kind of a marketing specific tool. That's gonna be my guess. I'm gonna leave it broad and leave it at that.
Smart man. All right. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. You guys see that all right?
Wow. Okay, not expecting that.
All right. So what do you see on the screen, Alec?
Hermes.
Hermes. Who here has heard of Hermes? Drop a yes in the chat if you've heard of Hermes. Crickets. Good. This is great.
Cricket.
That's what we wanted. That
Here,
was the
I'll drop a
okay, we've got one.
comment. I'll speak for the group and drop a comment here.
Only the retailer. Hermes. Yes, Gene. That's what most people think of as Hermes. Great bags, expensive
Birkin.
bags, right? Well, guys, that was the point of this session, is to show tools that you haven't heard of or haven't used, or maybe are scared to use because they're overly technical. So Hermes is about to change the way that you guys think about getting work done. So I know it sounds like just another AI tool, another thing to learn, or it sounds like hype. I can assure you it's not. The difference here is most AIs that you use, they forget about you the second you close the tab. And sure, there's folders and some persistent memory, but Hermes is really good at remembering everything about you and storing that memory. It can live on your computer, it can live in the cloud. Without getting too into technicalities, there's different ways that you can bring Hermes into your workstation. So I could go on about the benefits of it, but I think there's nothing better than just showing you guys from a fresh setup. I just set this up for this session to show you guys. I've been using it for some time now, but I wanted to set up a clean one so that we could walk through a few examples together.
Justin, this looks like an app. So you go to Hermes website and just download it, and that's how you get started with it, or what does that look like?
So it is a bit technical to set up historically. They've made it pretty simple now with the desktop app. It doesn't require you to be technical or an engineer. There are some nuances and security measures you need to take and be aware of. We can put together a session for that coming soon if you guys would like, if you find this to be valuable. But I just want to show you a few ways I'm using it. But yes, Alec, to answer your question, this is an app on my desktop. You can run it from your phone. You can text it, email it, talk to it on Telegram, WhatsApp, etc. A lot of ways to access it, but this is the desktop app. So first thing I want to show you guys is, let's see here. So I did an audience analysis. We've had about 1,000 or so people sign up for these sessions the past month, and 500 of you guys show up. What I did was upload all of that data into a Google Sheet, and I asked for Hermes to do a cohort analysis. And so this one is redacted, so you won't see anybody's names. You will see companies' names, but it analyzed 533 attendees over the course of the last month. We've done 4 sessions now, including this one. And it gave us a breakdown of who these people are, their titles, how many people have come back, how many are unique, our priorities. And then it breaks down all this really detailed information, job titles, manager, VP, senior, founder, C-suite, what percentage each job title is, seniority mix. So 15% of people who have joined are CEOs or executives, 23% are VP, head of directors, industries. So I just uploaded this database and it gave me this beautiful report that we can act on. So Alec, if I sent this to you and you're my boss, right? I said, hey, Alec, I did a cohort analysis of our webinars for the past month. Here it is. What would you do with this? Would you find this valuable?
Yeah, and I would probably think that it took you about a week. I think we're still in a kind of unique time period where a lot of the, capabilities of AI and like the timelines haven't been adjusted yet, and the costs associated haven't been adjusted. I'll give you an example with take a website, for instance. There's still people who are like, as a agency, you could tell someone, hey, we'll throw in a website for free, and people are like, whoa. But the reality is, with AI now, you can knock out a website in 15 minutes, and that hasn't been priced in yet. Your boss sees that, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like this must have taken him weeks." And in reality, you had AI do it in 15 minutes, and that's a good thing. You should be using AI. And at the end of the day, it's the deliverable that matters. If that is something that's of value, which clearly it is, and will help us to continue to, cater content to the right audience and boost show up rates and everything like that, that's what matters. Are you delivering value or not? It doesn't matter if you're using AI. I heard somebody say, I don't want my boss to know if I was using AI. And it's like your boss should hope that you're using AI. Like if you're not being efficient. Like the tools are here. It's time to use them.
Gene has a question. Could this be something where I could give a database of zip codes and get the demo of people who live in those zip codes?
get demo or like the data? Like, are you looking
Speaking
at
of the
the whole?
demographic, Gene, there's actually an interesting tool I can send you. Send me a follow-up email with that question. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there is a really robust tool for that that people use for local marketing. But yeah, Alec, I think you landed a really good point. It's the output that matters and this the speed to which you can get to a result. Instead of spending a week making this report, I did this right before our call. I uploaded this prompt here and I can send this to you guys if you're interested. Uploaded a Google Sheet and it sent me that PDF. The other thing I want to show you guys on Hermes, I could spend hours showing you all these features, how you can change the models from the most cutting edge model, Fable 5, to Opus, Sonnet, Haiku, GPT 5.5. There's even Kimi, which is a very cheap model. There's some free models in here, so you don't have to spend any money on tokens. There's local models you can host on your computer. There's very fast, high-end, expensive models, so you can tweak that all right here. So you're not beholden to OpenAI or Anthropic. If, for instance, one of them gets shut down, like Fable 5 just did, now you can just switch your model in here, and all of your memory lives within Hermes. So there's a lot of benefits. There's also this feature here where you can create profiles. So these are each agents here that I've created. One is a free agent, one is an agent for design, one is an agent for research. What I'm going to show you guys next is a cron job. A cron job is a task you want repeated on a hourly, daily, weekly basis. So what I had to do here was this took me 5 minutes right before this call, and what it does is send me the 5 biggest news headlines of the day in AI. So I gave it this prompt. You're my daily AI news scout. Run this every day at 3:30 Eastern. Your job is to find the 5 to 10 biggest AI stories of the day and email them to me. And so the prompt is more robust than that, but gives you an idea. And so at 3:30, sure enough, because the cron job ran, it gave me 5 headlines. Midjourney Medical goes from AI image generation to full body ultrasounds, so on and so forth. So every day now in my inbox, I have the 5 biggest AI news stories of the day. This is great for obvious reasons, but if you want to stay up to date on the latest and greatest in your industry, what's going on, the stock market, etc., you could run a cron job for anything you can imagine. This is just a very simple one for this session.
Justin,
Alec,
would you say that's the main benefit of using something like Hermes versus just using Claude or ChatGPT? Is the cron jobs, or in your opinion, what's the benefit to using something like this versus me just going to Claude and using that?
I would say it's not the cron jobs. You can set up cron jobs anywhere, but it does make it really simple for them to run within Hermes. I would say the biggest benefit, Alec, is, or one of them, is the persistent memory. So it remembers everything about you and never forgets. Does a really great job of that. In addition to the persistent memory, Hermes is really great at skills. So once you do a skill once, it saves that skill and remembers how to do it so that the next time you do it, it actually saves on tokens. So you're saving a lot of money rather than going to ChatGPT, running a prompt that uses a lot of tokens and money. Here, it saves that skill and gets more and more efficient at it. Um,
Gotcha.
I would say last, that there's a lot. Again, I could yap your ear off about this, but the ability to configure and change models. Look at all these models, Alec. Some are free, some are dirt cheap. I know you used to like Kimi K 2.6. I'm sure you still do. It's fast and
Yep.
cheap.
Still running it super cheap.
You have the
Yeah.
frontier models, and then the newest, latest, and greatest open source model is also added in here, which we'll get to later. I'm going to share that and save it for the end. Guys, any questions? If not, I'm going to pass it back to Alec for tool number 3.
I think there's a couple questions in the chat. Do we want to answer those now, or do we want to wait till the end and kind of answer all questions then?
Yeah, we'll keep the pace moving.
Last on these tools are very cool and kind of tie. I'm going to go two in a row because they are related and it kind of ties into what Justin showed and honestly ties into Codex as well. So I'm going to go back to my main deck here. We're going to share this and we're going to give you guys some examples. Okay, Apify. Apify is a
Ooh.
amazing tool. So what Apify is we need to get data. There's data that lives in certain places and we need to pull it out. Instagram. There's data on Instagram. We want to pull in somebody's post performances. There's YouTube data. We want to scrape all the comments off your YouTube post and do an analysis on them and see what people are commenting. There's data everywhere. There's LinkedIn scrapers. So basically what Apify is it's a library of scrapers. So you can use a Instagram scraper off the shelf from Apify. You don't have to build anything custom. And that is how you can pull your data in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share something different here. I'm going to go to Apify and just show you guys some of the options. Then I'm going to show you a real life use case for some of these Apify scrapers. I use them pretty much daily. So let me get this shared here. And then I'll show you the next tool that's also related. Okay, so Apify right here. Apify Store. You'll see right off the bat here, we have scrapers for a lot of different things. So we have social media, Facebook Pages scraper. There's a lot of really good stuff out there. Like if you wanted to scrape vendors, for instance, and you wanted to scrape Facebook groups and pull out comments for people that are commenting their phone number because they need leads or something along those lines. There's so many different scrapers for things that you could pull. You could scrape Craigslist and build like an auto lowball bot or something like that. You can get creative with it. There's a lot of funny use cases, but I mean, at the end of the day, whatever data you're looking for, if it's on the internet, there's probably an Apify scraper for it. So it's a really useful tool. There's a couple ways you can run it. One is you can just run it in Apify. Like if I wanted to say, like this is JSON here, but if I wanted to say, we're going to scrape posts from KT Beer, we're going to just set how many posts, we're going to let that run. It's going to run in Apify. The more powerful way to do it is you can give this a scraper like this to, let's say, your Hermes agent, or you could give it to Codex, or you could put it in a workflow and it can pull that data and it could do it every day. Like say you wanted to monitor someone's post and see what they're posting because they're a competitor. You could have it scrape their Instagram every day and see what they're posting about or see what brand deals they have or just see, how they're performing versus how we're performing. So Apify has a lot of scrapers. It's really good for pulling data in. So if there's something that like you have to run a report on this every day, this can do it for you basically. And I'll show you a real example. And this ties into tool number 2, which I'm excited to talk about because honestly, it was kind of my impetus for really diving into the AI space. And that tool, Justin, any guesses?
OpenClaw.
Rewind a year and a half.
N8N. There we
N8N,
go.
great tool. So I'm going to show you how N8N works real quick. I'm sure some of the audience has heard of it. N8N is a great tool because it's visual. It allows you to connect other tools, build out workflows, have AI in that workflow. And I'm going to show you a real life use case of N8N and an Apify scraper and what it does. So for anyone that doesn't have context on this, I run an AI implementation and lead gen agency. We build out different agents, different automations for companies, and we also generate leads, booked appointments, calls, all of that. So what I'm going to show you is an automation that we built out for a client here. This is N8N and this is Apify scrapers here. So this might look like a lot, and I acknowledge that, but it's very simple and it's very visual. And N8N used to be a lot more you needed it a lot more before Claude Code, before Codex, because now you could build out all this logic in Codex, in Claude Code. It can do it all for you without you having to make these like drag and drop different workflows. But it's a really, really good place to start so you can get like a visual feel for how these workflows operate. So here's what this solves. Here's how it works. Justin mentioned a cron job. That's exactly what this is. Just a schedule. This runs every Sunday. What it does is it pulls in all the rows from the sheets. And here we have a list of creators. Basically, what this client wanted is they want their website to show live feeds of how many followers their creators have, a link to their last YouTube video, and they were doing it manually. They said they worked with really high level top agencies to try to figure this out on how to pull this data in. And months and months and months passed by. And then I have a great recording. He's like, yeah, and then you knocked it out in 3 hours. But basically, how it works is these are all scrapers for different platforms. So this scrapes YouTube and it grabs their live subscriber count. It runs through each creator on the list, grabs their subscriber count. This is Instagram, grabs all their follower count, TikTok, so on, so on. And then it pushes it to their WordPress. So then they can show those stats live. So this is N8N. You can connect a lot of cool stuff in N8N. Like it could be as easy as, hey, I built out a website with Codex. I have a lead form on there. I need that data to get to my email. So all that data pushes to my N8N workflow, and then it goes to an email node. Like you'll see there's a lot of integrations, like here's Google Sheets. There's a lot of different off-the-shelf integrations that it has. And also, I'll throw this in there as well. There's a lot of people that use a Zapier or a make.com. Those are great tools. They do fundamentally the same thing. They allow you to connect tools. You can have it something run every day and it triggers this Zap to go off and send an email or whatever. Those tools are billed per execution. N8N is open source. So you could host it on your own infrastructure and pay $4 a month, which is great, and unlimited execution. So those are my two tools. I know that was a lot and fast, but Apify and N8N.
Alec, so I'm curious. I know you were using N8N quite a bit, like you said, a year and a half ago. Do you still actively use it?
I
And
still actively use it. Yeah, there's certainly situations where it's the most viable option. It happens all the time. I'd say the most common one is if I build out a new landing page for a site and I need to pull that data in and I need it to route to the client or I need it to go off somewhere, I'm just going to build into a little N8N automation and that's going to send off super easy. Or if I need that to also push to a Google Sheet and I need it to go into Airtable, whatever it is, those like simple, really quick where I just need to route some data somewhere. I'll use N8N all day.
sounds like you find that it gives you a bit better control over the data and how to
Very much.
manipulate it. Whereas sometimes using AI feels like a black box.
That's
Information's
exactly it.
being processed, and you're like, well, I don't know what happened, but this data looks kind of all right. But this seems like there's better control over each step in the process. And you can find where maybe something is leaking or broken.
That's I honestly could not have said it better. And that was the transition, right? It's like everyone, fast or rewind a year and a half, everyone's talking about Claude Code and these agents you could build with Claude Code. And it's an absolute black box. You tell Claude Code the outputs that you want, and then it builds out the workflows. Then you have to basically just verify if it's working or not. The debugging process is more of a, hey, Claude, this is what's wrong, versus the debugging process here you can see all the executions. You can see if something's broken. You could find exactly like if this isn't functioning, you could see that this isn't functioning. And you could figure out why that's fixed. So the debugging process is super easy. So for anyone that's like trying to, wants to get a better understanding of how to build out workflows, this is a good place to start because it could show you kind of the logic behind how these workflows function. And then switching over to Claude Code once you kind of have a better feel for it is a really good path to getting proficient with this stuff.
Like that was awesome. Thanks, man. Let's keep the pace going. We've got 20 or so minutes left. I'm gonna try to do a speed round for this next one. We're gonna go through Midjourney. Guys, Midjourney, who's heard of Midjourney? Drop a yes in the chat if you've heard about it. They had some really, really interesting news today. Alec, have you read up on what Midjourney is doing now?
No.
Context. Midjourney started out as an image generation model, creating AI generated images. And so today they've gotten so good at image modeling, which predominantly was used by just creatives. And so I know some of you in the chat have been asking about getting into a design segment here. So this is for you guys, all you designers, anyone who's doing anything creative. But they got so good at creative image generation that they're now rolling out a plan that's going to replace MRI machines that are 1,000 times cheaper. And they're going to turn MRI scans into a health and wellness experience. I don't know if any of you guys have had an MRI scan. They are miserable. They're 45 minutes long. There's clanking the whole time. If you move, you have to get a repeat scan. I used to do some consulting for an MRI company, so I'm somewhat familiar with the space, but I'm sharing that to say that this image generation model is so powerful for creative output that they're now creating hardware that's going to replace MRI machines. So I'll add that to the show notes if you guys are curious, or if you look up Midjourney MRI replacement, you'll find all about it. Ashwin, Eugene, looks like Manisha, you've all heard of Midjourney, but let me show you something really cool about Midjourney that you may or may not be aware of. And go ahead and share my screen here. So for those of you who don't know, you can come into Midjourney, you can explore inspiration. This is great for if you're designing a website, social content, etc. You can come here, find inspiration, kind of like Behance. But where I find it to be most powerful is creating. So as you guys can see here, I've been creating some videos of AI for NTP, hat mockups and different styles, some shirts. What do you guys think? Should I make some of this merch? Would you guys wear it? What do you think, Alec? Would you wear that?
Hook me up, man.
You could type in dad hat with green font, and you're going to get something kind of basic, right? I didn't type in a very robust prompt, but it looks great. But what if I really want to dial in that prompt? So let's go to expert mode here. We're going to switch away from hats. Those are kind of easy to recreate. What if we try to recreate a car? My dream car is a Porsche 911 or a BMW E30. And this art's kind of cool. I'd like to hang something like that on my wall or maybe on a t-shirt. So I'm going to go to chat. I'm going to say, hey, chat, I am working with Midjourney. Could you please recreate this image by giving me a prompt?
All right, Justin, we got to talk about it real quick. This tool was on my list. I'm sure it's on Justin's as well. So let's just talk about it. What did you just use to transcribe that text?
Funny you ask, Alec. So Alec introduced me to this tool called Wispr Flow about a year ago. It has changed my life. I rarely, if ever, type anymore. You click one key on your keyboard and you can talk to your computer. It's really good for auto correcting. So you could say like, do you want to meet at 7 or I mean 8 up, I mean 6 o'clock, right? You could make a mistake as you're chatting to your computer, voice to text, and it will actually autocorrect it in real time so that there's no typos or spelling errors in your text.
Yeah, 100%. Like Justin said, you can just riff. It sounds like we're sponsored when we talk about this. I wish that we were. Get at us, Whisper Flow. We're waiting. But yeah, like Justin said, it's great because you press a hotkey on your keyboard and then you just talk. Might not be super ideal if you're in a cubicle or something like that, but it is a great tool for, especially with AI, how, the quality of your prompt really determines the output that you're going to get. And it's always an iterative process. The first output that you get often, might not be exactly what you want. So then you could hit a hotkey and you could say, hey, we'll take the Codex example with my presentation that I made. Made a first draft, and then I go through it. And press the hotkey, and I'm like, change this on this slide. And then I just go through that whole thing, drop that context in, and we're done. And then it builds out what I want. I continue that iterative process. So Whisper Flow is a great tool. Recommend it to everyone. Whisper Flow versus Super Whisper. Super Whisper. I haven't used Super Whisper or heard of it. I'd imagine at the end of the day, it's the exact same thing. Either way, probably good, but haven't used it. If you're having a good experience with Super Whisper, you're comfortable with it, probably not worth changing. If you're having problems with Super Whisper, Whisper Flow's been great to me. I haven't had any problems with it, so I'd go ahead and make that change.
All right, we're having some technical difficulties getting Midjourney to load, so I'm just rebooting. So here we go. All right, so I just uploaded that image to ChatGPT and I said, give me a prompt to recreate this image. So that is the prompt they gave me. I didn't sit here and try to be a genius and come up with this prompt on my own. This is one of the big mental shifts with AI. Stop trying to be a genius and working so hard. When you have this technology available to you, use it. So it's kind of like when the Model T came out. There were a lot of haters. Oh, I'll just keep using my horse and buggy. I don't need a car. Or the typewriter. I'll just keep using my pen. Or the internet, right? There's always these moments in time where technology takes a big leap and people fight against it. But the more and more you lean into it, you feel like you're cheating sometimes. Like I could have sat here and spent 10 minutes coming up with this prompt and really got it dialed in and created a beautiful image. But instead, I asked AI to make the prompt for me. And now I'm feeding it to another AI. So that's a really good way is tag teaming by building prompts with one AI and feeding it to the other. And so let's see what we get here. What picture did we upload? We uploaded this. Okay. And Midjourney has no context of this image aside from the prompt. Look at that. That's really good. So there's so many use cases, guys. If you get creative, right, Alec? Like if you're building a website and you say, hey, I really like this website, take a screenshot of it You send it to AI and say, on what you're seeing, what prompt should I give to Midjourney or to Claude Design to replicate this? And it really,
100%.
yeah, it really just gets you started on the right foot.
And guys, you'll see like another point of what Justin's sharing right now, at least in my book, is that now there is no excuse to have bad visuals on your website, on anything client facing, anything internal, any slideshows, any one pagers. Image generation is truly now at the point where it's indistinguishable. You can use these rest in peace stock images for sure. If you have bad images, dated images, use AI and get something better because you just saw how easy it is to create these things. So no excuse for bad visuals anymore.
Here we go again. We're doing Starry Night, my favorite painting, but remake it as a football field. A robust prompt. So you guys get the idea. This is really good for creative ideation. I'm going to hand it back to Alec here, but my next tool takes this a step further. So how you can take these images and then create a real production grade website that looks world class. Oh my God, Alec, look at that. Starry Night as a football field. I'm going to set that in Pittsburgh with the Steeler colors hanging on my wall. What do you say?
I love it.
Look at that. That's cool. All right, Alec, back to you.
Good stuff. Okay, I'm not going to share a screen for this one because I actually have this device handy. This is the PLAUD Note. If you've seen me on these calls before, if you've seen me present, I always talk about the PLAUD Note. What it is, it's basically like how you have a wallet. You know, people have those wallets on the back of their phone. PLAUD Note, same thing, but it's an external recording device. So you might be like, hey, I use like the, Zoom recording when I'm on meetings. That's great. But this is awesome because Zoom is just one medium of how we communicate with each other. You have phone calls, you have in-person conversations, and Applaud Note allows you to record all of those. So it's really good for that because you're not just limited to Zoom meetings. It's also really good because you can tie it to other tools. So back to the like N8N stuff, Plaud has a Zapier integration. So basically, I have an integration that runs where anytime I record something, that recording hits the Zapier automation and it pushes it into my Google Drive. So then whenever I'm in, say, Claude, for instance, and I need to reference that conversation I had, it's right there because my Claude's hooked up to my Google Drive too. So there's a lot of really cool integrations that you can build out with it. Honestly, you could not do what I do without having this. It's a very helpful tool and it allows you to be a lot more engaged and present when you're not worried about scribbling something down or worried about forgetting something. So I sound like I'm sponsored. I'm not. I wish I was someday, soon. Maybe we will be. But
I don't know if I believe you, Alec. It's all you talk about. Wispr Flow. Do you guys think Alec's
secretly
low key
sponsored.
sponsored? I think he might be.
I wish. I wish. But yeah, great tool. I use it every single day. I couldn't live without it. So recommend. Also, here's some sauce. I don't know if this is still the case, but I think online it was like $150. I went on eBay and someone was selling them for like, I don't know, 60 or 70. So I got it there and it's great. So check eBay first if you're gonna get one.
Alec, that's great because the amount of times, like you said, I'm in a meeting, I'm trying to be engaged, but also take relevant notes. And sure, there's some transcribers now for this that you can plug into your Zoom and it takes notes for you. But when you're on the road, right, you're driving, you're taking a walk, whatever the case may be, you just don't have those tools accessible. That's something you can always have available to you. All right, guys, I'm going to move through this quick. Alec has an appointment coming up in 10 minutes, so we're going to do a speed round. So, I just showed you Midjourney. That's a great way to start a creative project to get inspiration. However, it's not the end all be all. So, what I start with is Midjourney for inspiration. And then I either move it into Figma or Canva, you guys may be familiar with, and then push it into Claude Design. So, has anyone here used Claude for design? Drop a yes in the chat if you have. There we go, David. I knew we'd have at least one. So guys, Claude Design, let me show you first what Alec and I built together for one of our friends with Claude Design. Slow hand remodeling. They just moved from Austin, Texas to Los Angeles, California. And look at this beautiful website.
That's like the reverse of the trend. I feel like the people moving from California to Texas is like everyone's doing that, but he's paving a different path, I guess.
Well, look at this guy. Corey goes against the grain, Alec. That's
There
one
we
thing we've
go.
learned
That's what I
about
was looking
Corey.
for. Against the grain. That's it.
And so everything you see here was created with Claude Design and Canva and Corey's camera. But guys, I'll send you the link. You can check it out on your own time. Oh, are we on the wrong screen? What are you guys seeing?
Yeah, you got to swap that. I could see. Okay.
Here we go.
Got it.
Thanks, Chad. You saved the day. So here we go. Slow hand remodeling. And so this is Corey, our friend that Alec and I built this for him using Claude. And it looks very clean, professional. It's functional. If you guys are in LA and need a bathroom or kitchen remodeled, Corey is your guy. And so, Alec, I know you like Lovable. I've used Claude Code to make websites, but what I found is to get design really, really good, using Claude Design is your best option right now, in my opinion. I also created the AI for NTP website using it. I'm sure you guys have all seen that by now. It just works. In my opinion, it just works. Sometimes a tool, you feel like, this is all right. This is good enough. I feel like Claude Design just works. And so what we did was we simply uploaded some instructions, source files. We did some mockups with Midjourney and Canva. We uploaded them. We said we want to use these assets. We like these fonts. Here's our photographs. And then we went into Figma. I went into Figma and just did some light wireframing. So mocking up the look and the feel of the website. So played with some different fonts, imagery, copy, button styling. I took a few screenshots of this and just uploaded it to Claude Design. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out. But at the end of the day, it's like if you want to design something, there's a lot of great AI tools, but in my opinion, Claude Design is the best right now.
100%. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things. So on my tools, I am out. Those are my top tools. It's what I came with today. Justin, did you have anything else that you wanted to share on tools? I'll give an honorable mention. This kind of ties into Midjourney. So what Higgsfield is, it's kind of an aggregate of all the image and video models, and they have like their own internal tools as well that you can use. So basically, what I mean by that is there's all these different image generation and video generation models. So there's Nano Banana from Google. ChatGPT has its own image generation. There's Seed Dance. There's all these different image generation models. So what you can do in Higgsfield is you can put a prompt in and you could run it through 5 different models and see what your best output is. And then also in Higgsfield, you can use their video generation models and same deal. Check out 5 different models, see what gives you the best output. They have a lot of really cool new tools that they're building out internally, like their marketing studio now, where you can generate UGC content, which is really, really cool. So Higgsfield is an incredible tool and I think worth an honorable mention here. It is expensive though. I pay $150 a month for it, so definitely not the cheapest tool on the list here. Expensive, but if you are somebody that's leveraging AI for image and video generation heavily or want to, there's cheaper tiers for sure. I think I'm somewhere in the middle of their tiers. So there's cheaper ways to get started with it and try it. It can get expensive. You can run out of usage fast. But when you consider that you're able to generate an entire UGC video and that's 1/100th of your credits, and that used to cost $300 for one video, very well worth it.
Thank you for the honorable mention, Alec. That was great. I'll do one more. I see James in the crowd. James, are you there? Raise your hand and try bringing you up to the stage here because I have a tool that I think would rock James' world. Let's see if he's here. We'll give him a moment. It says he's rejoining. So, guys, for context, what's up, James?
Hey guys.
What up?
Welcome to the club, James. So, guys, for those of you who don't know James, he's a good friend and colleague of Alec and myself. we help him with his business. James, do you want to tell the crowd here a little bit about your business? We'll give you a chance to shoot your shot.
Yeah, man, we started a golf company. We do a lot of apparel and accessories. It's called Dartee Golf. We have a utility golf belt. So I'm just hopping in, learning as much as I can how to implement AI into our business. And these guys are definitely the experts. And I'm just trying to wrap my head around it all and see where I can utilize it.
Thanks, James. Guys, check out Dartee Golf. We'll drop a link in the chat. And James, I'm going to rock your world real quick. Guys, this is the CRM that James uses and works out of. It has a new agentic feature. So we're going to say, show us all of the prospects that James needs to follow up with ASAP. We want the high value targets. We want good leads. They're going to spend a lot of money that are showing interest in his pipeline right now. Again, using Wispr Flow, and boom. Uh-oh, James. This is proprietary data that might get exposed. Are you nervous?
Little bit, man. I might have to get to work as soon as I get off the call.
Yeah, guys, we can give you a free month trial to the CRM if you want to try it out. It's 99 bucks a month. We're not sponsored, but we do have a relationship with the company. It's what I've been using the past 10 years. So, Alec, I know you're a power user as well. What's one thing you really love?
I've used every CRM that is on the market. I mean, not quite, but I've used industry specific CRMs. I've used HubSpot, used Salesforce. I've used them all and has a lot more functionality than a lot of these. And now that I'm kind of looking at this as a different angle, I use it internally for my own company, and then I also help other companies implement it. So with that, we're trying to tie other tools to it. We're trying to push data in. We're trying to use Codex to be able to pull all this data in and automate some of the work that we have to do to maintain our CRM. So I would say the robustness of the API is super important. And then on the other hand, just as a normal user of it, very friendly as well. So I think personally, it was a no-brainer for my company. So yeah, definitely an advocate for it.
So, guys, this is James Company Dartee. If you're a golfer looking for a gift for Father's Day, recommend checking it out.
Shout
James,
out
thanks for
Darty.
coming on.
Justin or James, maybe a little context for the group on why an e-commerce company has a CRM.
So, wholesale, they have a lot of wholesale opportunities, companies buying gifts for their employees, for their golf events. And so these belts are a great gift. They can get the ball marker customized with their logo. And it's just a really nice gift. So, to answer your question, Alec, a lot of outbound email to companies that are great customers. And so then, James, here we have an overview of your pipeline, the biggest opportunities for you to address, key findings. So, guys, the reason we're sharing this is because a lot of people are either going like all in on AI or they're just still doing the old school way, working out of Salesforce or some antiquated tools. But there is a happy medium where you're using AI tooling embedded within your old school CRM. That's just a fun example of how you can query your CRM quickly to identify opportunities that you should have you or your sales team address.
Love it.
Alec, I know you may have an obligation, but welcome to stay. I'm going to jump into some Q&A here for all of you guys who hung out. Thank you for coming. If you have a question that we didn't address, feel free to resurface it in the chat and we'll do our best to address it.
Let's do it. I'm going to hang around for some Q&A here. I got about 10 minutes. I'm going to scroll through the questions, see if there was anything during mine, and I'll try to address some of those here. Okay. David Toledo. So you still recommend N8N versus Claude Code because of the debugging, if more visual and easier to understand the logic. So this is very case by case. I think it depends on who you are, your experience, what you're trying to do with it, where you're trying to go, what that specific use case is. So I would say I would recommend anyone that has never built out any of these workflows or isn't that technical or anything like that. N8N is a great starting point to understand how these workflows work. So I think N8N is great for that. I think it's good for getting your head wrapped around the space. What's a system prompt? You'll learn that in N8N, how to make an HTTP request. Those sort of things are all good. It's good to get a feel for the basics. And then once you're building more complex workflows in Claude Code, you'll have a better understanding of how that's actually working. And then when it does come to fix these problems, you'll have a better idea of what's going wrong. So I would say depends on the use case. And like now for me in real time, like when am I using N8N versus using Claude Code? If it's anything super complex, I'll typically use Claude Code. If it's something where I just need to wire some tools together real quick, I will typically use N8N. So that's kind of where I stand on when I use either of those.
Alec, they want to know what hair product you use.
I'm not going to say anything until I get a sponsor here. I'm done plugging stuff for free.
Did you guys know Alec and I were voted best hair in AI? All right, guys, bonus for the end, as promised. Everyone who's live, and only if you came live, do you get a free Hermes training and setup. So we could do like an office hours on the weekend. We can get all of you guys together in one room and we can do like a little boot camp. It'll take, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes to an hour to set up and get you guys fine-tuned, anyone who's interested in that. And then if you prefer OpenClaw, Ian's going to host that one, get your OpenClaw set up. So it's really like choose your path. You can join both if you'd like, but that's your freebie for staying and joining live. Alec, what else should we give them? Should we give them anything else? What do you think?
Well, eventually we got to get some merch rolling here, and I would hope to be one of the first to receive some. So definitely merch long term. It sounds like you might have some ideas on what you want to give away though, so I'll let you rip there.
Yeah, so what I was planning, guys, was the access to the CRM. So you can use the affiliate code there. It gives you 2 weeks free to try it if you want to test it out. And the other thing is the boot camp to setting up Hermes. It's not super technical, but it really, you should do it with someone just for privacy reasons and security reasons, rather, just to be extra cautious. There's things that can go wrong when you set up all these permissions, onboarding, Alec, setting up an OpenClaw. I don't know if you set up at Hermes yet, but same kind of deal. You want to be careful what access you give it to your machine locally, or if you want to do it on a VPS and put it on its own computer. Jamie, can you go high level 5,000 foot view on Hermes? Yeah, that's a really good question. Good to see you again, Jamie. There's so many considerations. I use all of them personally. Alec, I'd like to hear your point of view next. Go high level, I use for maintaining my customer prospect relationships. I think it's just the best tool in the market for that. I've been using it for close to a decade now. Their founders, Sean, those guys are incredible and they're shipping something new every day for the past decade. I use that for a CRM for sales and marketing activity. In terms of Hermes, I'm starting to use more for high velocity marketing operations and marketing intel. Anything I'm doing manually in my marketing operations, I'm now offloading it to Hermes and I'm giving it to my colleagues to use so that they can be more efficient with their time. So they're not doing busy work anymore. So really just systemizing and automating to create operational efficiencies. And then Cloud Code, that's kind of my daily driver still.
Yeah, my personal take is that on a, say, Hermes or OpenClaw, pretty much anything that you're going to be running a cron job on, anything that's going to be scheduled is where I would maybe opt for one of those agents instead of using Claude Code. That's kind of how I divvy up what I'm going to use for what. I view Claude Code as, like Justin said, more of a daily driver and something where you can really work out of, and something where you have all your environment, your API keys set for things like high level where you can query it and you can kind of work out of there versus something like OpenClaw where you just kind of set tasks for it and it does those. I would set the differentiation as, hey, if it's going to be doing this all the time, let's use Hermes or let's use OpenClaw. If it's something where it's like, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to get some work done, I'm going to use Claude Code.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And guys, the only way to find out is just using the tools, really. There's no better way. I think that's, if I had one bit of advice for everybody here, it's just start tinkering on the weekend, after work, during work. Try to replace something you're currently doing in your daily workflow with N8N, Hermes, OpenClaw, Claude Code. and you'll get the hang of it and figure it out. But I would say GoHighLevel is the most dissimilar tool. That's really more of a structured CRM with some AI built into it now. Alec, closing remarks?
I enjoyed that session a lot. I think it was a good one. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I mean, we're here, whether it's 10 people in here or 10,000, we're trying to deliver as much value as possible for you guys. So I do realize that taking an hour out of people's day, it's a lot. I mean, we're all trying to balance a million different things. So you guys being here means a lot. We're happy to share what we know, and hopefully it can help you guys to start building out different things, start using different tools, and start looking at the way that you work a little bit differently as we're in this transitory period and just a new world with AI. I appreciate everyone's time. I am having a lot of fun with these. We're having fun with it. Thanks everyone for being here. Justin, I think this was a good one. We're leveling up every episode, so we'll continue to sharpen the axe and we'll get there.
Yeah, thanks, Alec. Guys, we're doing these once a week at least. So come along for the journey. You're in at the ground floor. We have a lot of giveaways and bonuses and incentives for you guys to be a part of this community that will come in due course. So stick around and you guys will be rewarded in some way, shape, or form. But most importantly, this is about the knowledge you're gaining along the way. And the purpose of this platform is really just to onboard as many people as possible to using AI. Guys, if you want to connect with Alec, his LinkedIn is in the chat there.
Just happy to connect with anyone on this call. And again, I appreciate your guys' time.
All right, Alec. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
That was a good one. Thanks, man.
Cheers,
See
man.
you guys. Cheers.